Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
All right, I'd like to call to order the March 16th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors for East Lampeter Township. All supervisors are in attendance except for Mr. Gallagher. Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have the agendas in the back and we have a sign in. We'd like to know who's here. If you can, we appreciate that signing in. And we begin with public comment for any non-agenda items. Anybody from the public? All we ask is that you state your name so we can record that. Anyone with a comment to begin? Okay, see or hearing none. Anybody online? Anything coming to us via chat? No? Okay, thank you. All right, first up on our agenda then after public comment is our consent agenda. It involves approvals of our meeting, our agenda tonight, minutes from our last meeting, time extensions, financial security reductions, and payment of important invoices.
Mr. Chairman, I would move the approval of the consent agenda.
Second. Motion by Mr. Hayward, second by Mr. Rutt. Any discussion? And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, good news to start. So next on the agenda, a recognition of the 2025 Officer of the Year Award. This is Officer Andrew Zentner, who will be presented by the Lions Club. We have I don't know if we have Lions Club rep here, but okay. Well, we have Chief Zerby to take us forward.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. For the past 20+ years, the Leola Lions Club has been representing our East Lampeter Township Officer of the Year Award. And tonight, I'm pleased to announce that past President Ken McCombs is here to make that presentation this evening. Ken?
Hi.
Thank you.
I'll just stand.
Oh,
So, like Captain said, each year the Leola Lions Club sponsors the East Lampeter County Police Officer of the Year Award. The award is presented to the police officer who has been chosen by his or her peers for outstanding police work during the calendar year. And this year, I am pleased to present the 2025 Officer of the Year Award to Officer Andrew Zentner. Officer Zentner began his career with East Lampeter in July of 2023. Since that time, he's been serving the patrol division. Officer Zentner has attended numerous trainings which have served him in the performance of his duties. He has received letter of commendation for apprehension and arrest of an individual with a stolen vehicle. And from that arrest, 2 different stolen vehicles were found at the same time. Officer Zentner has also received several letters of recognition for his assistance to police agencies, as well as members of the public whom he has helped. So, Officer Zentner, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Members of your family here this evening, if you'd like to.
Yes, yep. My mother Ruth, my brother Ethan, my wife Naomi, my sister Lexi, my cousin Calvin, cousin Theo, and my sister Lainey.
Thank you. Well, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, and thank you, family, for your support.
So I know in my time, I have not, I believe we've had an officer who's been with us for such a short amount of time, have that distinction of Officer of the Year. I don't know, Chief, you would know, maybe we've had someone younger at some point, but I would say that's a testament to, obviously, you know, your ability to adjust and move into the position with your knowledge and skill, but also your fellow officers, a whole department supporting you and, you know, just getting you acclimated to it. So I think it really, there's a team approach to it, especially for somebody so young and inconspicuous. You know, you kind of blend into the crowd. Hard to notice you at times, but I'm glad we did tonight. So thank you very much. Congratulations. Chief?
I'd like to thank the board for allowing me some time to recognize a few of our officers who are reaching their 25 years of service milestone with East Lampeter Township Police Department. Unfortunately, two of those officers are unable to be here tonight, but I'd like to read a brief bio about each of them here. Those are Officers Barry and Officer Goss. Officer Barry and Officer Goss started with the police department in July of 2001. Both have spent a large portion of their respective careers serving in the patrol division. Both served in the armed forces prior to their employment here with Officer in the Army and Officer Goss in the Marine Corps. Both officers have received numerous letters and commendations over the course of their careers. Officer Goss is also a recipient of the Life Saving Award. He also served 4 years in the Lancaster County Drug Task Force. Officer Goss is currently serving as a school resource officer for Conestoga Valley School District. The third officer that I'd like to recognize tonight, and I'd like to invite to come up here with me, is Detective Chris Jones. Chris. Gentlemen, Detective Jones began his career also in September of 2001. Detective Jones served in the patrol division for 9 years, which included a year and a half with the Lancaster County Drug Task Force. Since that time, he's been serving in the detective division, where he has received 25 plus numerous commendations and accolades for his work, including a large number of significant cases, both with East Lampeter Township and with other agencies in Lancaster County. Chris is well known for his work in our detective division as well across the county. I also would say that he was instrumental in getting Lancaster County's human trafficking task force off the ground, which was a district attorney initiative, and they leaned on him heavily. But I'd like to ask that you please congratulate Chris Jones for his 25th employment anniversary milestone this evening. Thank you. I do not. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, I don't know if you want to move anywhere, might as well stay put. But really appreciate all the officers being here tonight. It's always a great sign of you know, their teamwork and honoring their fellow officers. So it's great. All right, next up we have our 2025 Police Department Annual Report. Chief.
Gentlemen, I'm not going to go through page by page, but certainly we'll ask any questions that you might have during this presentation or even afterwards. That's fine. Feel free to interrupt. But I will call attention to the page numbers that I'm referring to when I'm calling on some of the highlights that I'll put in through the report. Starting on your page number 2, you will see that we responded to 20,876 calls in 2025. And that number is up by approximately 1,700 calls from 2024. That annual report total number can fluctuate between 19 and 21,000 calls per service. That's not, it's 3,000 calls, but that's not surprising to me. You also notice that they resulted in over 10,000 calls, reports written for those calls, and that number is up a little over 500 from last year. Interestingly, calls up, reports up, but total arrests were down by 44 from 2024 to 2025. Vehicle accidents were also down approximately 22% from 2024's numbers. However, Upper Lake Township, their numbers were up 13% in 2025. So we had a total of 4 fatalities. Each one of those was in East Lampeter Township, and that is 2 more than we had in 2024. We've responded to 3 fatalities so far this year. So I hope not, but that number could get bigger because we're that far in. We're only in our 3rd month here. We haven't completed it. 2 of those were in Upper Lake Township, however, so only 1 in East Lampeter. Moving down that same page to false alarms, that total that you see there, that's up 7% from 2024's numbers. These other stats here come from later on in the report, but the largest number of those reports came in on Friday, same day of the week as last year. The time of day, the volume was 8 p.m. It was 9 p.m. in 2024, so very similar. And the top 3 locations only changed by 1 location, and that was Applebee's swapping out for the Humane League in 2025 report.
So what causes the false alarm? Is there some theme or?
A variety of things. Human error can be one, weather can be another, but beyond human error and weather, I would say the largest, maybe not the largest, but the 3rd one in the group would be alarm systems that just aren't functioning properly. And you can see that when you look later on that report, you'll see that we responded to 1 East Lampeter business over 50 times in a calendar year. And now that number's dropped since the end of 25, and they've addressed their particular alarm system issue, whatever it was. But yes, it takes a lot of time, and man hours when you go into a problem like that over and over again. So,
Chief, are you encountering maybe more people that have alarm systems? Could that potentially be? I think you would know that in a residential type of situation, but I don't know.
I can't answer exactly how many more residential alarms we have, but residential alarms, the false alarms, are much fewer than our business alarms are, significantly less.
Seem to take more of it. I know for fire alarms with a simplex, say for a long term, you don't keep it up to date, it's going to be giving more false alarms. Charge for a false alarm?
We do for business and residential. I believe they get 4 free ones for the calendar year, and they start charging on the 5th. And I believe the fee right now, until there will be changes, which I know there's discussions, would stay the same with each additional false alarm. Now, fire alarms are different.
Yeah.
They don't get as many free ones. And there's a point where the dollar value increases with each additional fire alarm.
Okay.
Moving on to page 2, that is addressing our curfew ordinance. And you will see there that we had 2 incidents in 2025 and involving 5 juveniles. That's for the entire calendar year. That's a few less than the 2024. But the police department has received no citizen complaints regarding the enforcement of the ordinance. We have also not experienced any difficulties enforcing the curfew ordinance, and we have seen no evidence to indicate the ordinance causes any negative impact on the community. So it is my recommendation that the police department continues to believe that the curfew ordinance is a necessary and positive ordinance to regulate the problems committed by and against juveniles during nighttime hours, and promotes the safety and welfare of the township citizens under the age of 18 years and strengthens the parental. In a nutshell, I would recommend that we would keep the ordinance. Moving on to page 5, or your page 6, I apologize. Staffing. So we have 1 sworn officer that we didn't on. But you're also aware that we have a large number of changes coming in front of us in the months to come. So We are working as rapidly as we can to bring new officers on board in anticipation of this planned departures later this year and through 2027.
Hey, Chief, just that you know, I see in the lower right-hand corner the number that you see as well, so you can use the number you're looking.
Okay. Very good.
It works.
Thank you. Page 6. I keep my number on my cheat sheet is wrong. That's a problem.
Oh, okay.
Page 7.
Same time.
Hang on.
Nope.
Use of force and.
Use of force events. That's what I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Okay. So apologies. There were 24 in 2025, and that is one more from 2023. If you're not aware, we do review every use of force event here. And that is a review process that does include myself and the township manager and one or more members of the board as well. And that is part of our checks and balances system. And hopefully anything that would come before that group would not be a surprise, because if we had an issue with any use of force event that we discovered prior to getting to you, that would constitute an investigation as to whether or not the appropriate use of force was used, or if there was anything else regarding it. Moving on to sick time, 2025, you'll see those hours listed there at 34, just over 3,400. That is up over 500 hours from the year before, but it does include several significant injuries that contributed and resulting in a large number of duty hours as well. And you will see there that our light duty hours were listed at 2,628, and that is a 900-hour increase from 2024. So we had a torn Achilles twice. I'll draw a blank with some of the other things that happened, but they were not insignificant injuries. Well, or the number there. Moving on to overtime on page 8. You'll see that we have held pretty steady there from 2024 to 2025. I can answer any questions that you might have about any of those numbers. And then we'll move on to page 17, which is our crash statistics. And top.
You just, I'm new, so I'm appreciating this good information. Thank you for putting it together. I noticed the bottom 3 of the overtime reimbursed: DUI, DEA, and miscellaneous. How does that work?
Okay, very good question. So the state has grants that they will forward money to various departments that provide service to certain demographical areas. We're one of the departments that receive a lot of grant money because of Route 30 coming through our area, and because of the type of enforcement activity that we have, which we see a large number of vehicle accidents. We see a large number of DUIs and DUI related accidents. So some of that more of the state funded money seems to get funneled here, and then they're put towards initiatives to address those things, such as DUI enforcement outside of what an officer would do on their normal patrol routines.
Gotcha.
So they will pay us to put officers out on the street, and we usually put them out in about 4-hour time blocks between 10 and 2, and all they're out there driving around looking for DUIs specifically. They're not responsible for calls. And then there'll be other initiatives like enforcing the seatbelt. There'll be buckle up initiative money that we'll get, and they will stop drivers who are not belted and cite appropriately.
Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful. And I appreciate having your team do that, because that makes a difference for the safety of everyone here.
So on to page 17, locations to the left-hand side of your page, the large block. In fact, I would venture to say that one in the top locations by block number, which is the block to the right of it on top. Those 2 blocks there, the information you see there in the order that you see them with the numbers there, from year to year, those locations are pretty much the same. The only thing that's changing is the numeric, causing one to move up or one to move down on the list. So it's very frequent that our ramps at Route 30, whether they be at Greenfield, whether they be at 340, whether they be at Walnut Street, we have a lot of vehicle accidents happening at those on and off ramps. And then when you go to the block numbers on Lincoln Highway, 2000 block to the 2500 block, we see a lot of our accidents happening in those areas as well. On an up note, Lincoln Highway total crashes were down 100 from 2024 to 2025. So I can't remember when the narrowing of the lanes occurred, what year that was.
2018.
Okay, so not necessarily representative here this evening, so I was gonna maybe give some credit there.
The 307 is down 100 crashes.
The Lincoln Highway, the stretch, yeah, it's down over 100 crashes from 2024. So, yeah.
Do you have a cause for the crashes, like anything that there's a determination at a crash as to why? I mean, what percentage are flat out speed, not following the posted speed limit, things like that?
I could have that kind of data
Yeah.
for you. I don't have it here to give to you tonight. But it would be pretty broad spectrum. There would definitely be speed related crashes. There would definitely be crashes that are due to lack of paying attention,
Yeah.
diverted to people looking one way or at their phone.
Wondering if you might say, oh, the overwhelming majority are, driving too fast for conditions or something like that, but
I
it's
wouldn't
really a mixed bag.
say that off the end, that I would think it would be a variety of contributing factors.
And we're seeing the turning right on as a cause for, no, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
Page 21, sorry, page 20. Lists our pursuits. We had 9 in 2025. That's only one more than we had in 2024. And of those 9 pursuits, 1 where the offender crashed their vehicle. The guys the gals I'm extremely proud of. Back in my time, you'd have been, you'd been hard pressed to call me off a pursuit. It's one of those things that you kind of waited for. But nowadays with technology, they get a plate number and, 8 times out of 10, they're able to end up making an arrest out of that. It's a little more legwork, but saves a lot of lives and reduces the number of crashes that are as a result of pursuits. So,
I remember you sharing that at the forecast meeting too.
yes.
Commend you and your team because I read some of these pursuits from other townships and other states, and there's a lot of mayhem for just in case. Yeah, I mean,
Especially if you don't know why they're running from you.
Yeah.
so I recommend your staff. Must be I'm sure it's part of the good training from you and your lieutenants.
Thank you, Mr. The next page that I will talk about is 21 that references the Hempfield Manor crash team call outs. We are always, East Lampeter, are always either number 1 or number 2 on the list of the highest number of crash team call outs. Now, the county itself is served by 5 different crash teams, and they are set up via zones. And you might think it odd that Manor Township and East and West Hempfield and Columbia and East Lampeter and West Lampeter might make up a crash team. But those were the first 5 departments that came together to develop a crash team for the benefit of all of us, because all those PDs see a lot of vehicle crashes that can use the proficiency and the expertise of an actual crash team. And the members on these teams are people that have gone through weeks and weeks of school. So
Would you explain what they do? Would you explain what they do?
Absolutely, yeah. So they've gone through basic and advanced and reconstruction classes. They look at the damage to the vehicles and they look at the evidence that is left at the vehicle scenes. And there's physics and other kind of applied math used to determine what the speed of a vehicle or other vehicles involved in a crash would be, where the first, what we call fatal flaw occurred at, what was the beginning causation before 2 vehicles ran into each other, that kind of things. And so it all rests on mathematical functions They use these things to bring prosecutions when somebody who died in the crash and then the other party is being charged because of some contributing factor that has resulted in the death of another. So while we don't equalize these things with things like homicides or other manslaughter and things like that, they still are very important, and we have to get all of our ducks in a row and our I's dotted and our T's crossed in order to win these prosecutions in court. So it's very important to have people that are specialized in their training that can provide the juries and the judges with the specific details that they need to understand the causation of crashes.
So what would be the criteria to call the crash team? Besides, obviously, a fatal crash.
Yes, it would be fatal or somebody who you believe is going to be a fatal or not possibly survive. The only exception to that would be a single vehicle accident with a fatality or somebody that may not survive. Because single vehicle accident takes out the other part of the equation did some other party contribute? Moving on then to page 20. Seeing incidents by month, and you'll see that August is there and April is there as our 2 months with the greatest number of incidents occurring, and August was the same as 2024. April was not. That's an addition. I can't remember the other month that was maxed out there, but there's usually 2 months within a calendar year that represent our highest number of reports.
Is there a correlation for that for some?
The August part I would say is horse. Yeah.
Familiarity with the neighborhood, so they're, yeah.
Exactly. Page 28. You have some crime data listed there for you. You'll notice that theft and retail theft are still our highest volume crimes that we address on a regular basis. You also notice that overdoses in 2025 did rise a little bit from 2024, but still less than half than what we had in 23. And that number is still less than previous years before it. So overdose deaths are still down, even though we've seen a slight increase there over the last year.
Maybe I just noted a significant drop or rise in assaults, all others. 50.
Yes, from 25 up to 51. I wouldn't have nothing.
Okay.
Comment on that. I would believe that, well, the domestic related ones are right there above it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say that a large number of assaults do result from domestic related situations, but obviously the ones that you're seeing there are not associated with that. On to page 30. This is information that I gather for you gentlemen each year from a variety of sources, but the point of this page is to show you the number of arrests that are occurring in our department as compared to other departments in Lancaster County. And the important columns are the last 3 double columns to the far right. And you may not see them if yours colored or black and white color. So follow East Lampeter across to the second column under arrest per officer 2025. You'll see listed there 19.3. That's 19.3 arrests per officer in the patrol division. And you'll see that number is only seconded, or is the leading number there with Lancaster City being second. So the point there is to show you how much volume the office dealing with in comparison to other agencies to the county. Now, when you take that same kind of average and you spread it over the course of years, we're showing 3 full years, the number comes down slightly. That's a 1-year snapshot in the first of the 2 last 3 columns. And the other ones are the average low and the average high from 3 years that are being represented leading up to that. So we drop down a little bit when you look at it over the course of 3 years, but even on the high end of the very last column, we are listed at 22.8, and you see Manheim Township at 21.5, and the city at 25.2. Again, that's average number of arrests per officer in the patrol division.
The difference between total and patrol is just you take all the officers in the bucket. It's just a mathematical number. Yeah. But the patrol officers are the ones that are really doing the work. I mean, not that.
I don't say that blanketly, but I'm just pointing out specifically to those officers that are working the street. We're not including the detectives then. The detectives.
These are the street patrol officers that have a region that they need to verify and care for.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's helpful. Yeah.
Jared, do you have a population closest to us on that list? You could say offhand,
Population
of the township.
our population.
I know ours is like 18,000. How about the rest? I mean, I'm looking for another township that's close, obviously township, Manning Township's higher, East higher.
East Hempfield would be fairly close to us. 17,036.
That's right.
You get very close in population, but you look at the difference in numbers.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference in numbers.
They don't have Route 30.
Well, they do have it, but they don't have it non-divided. That's right.
And they don't have as much retail.
Yes,
Yeah. I'm looking at your incidents, those retail ones there. Okay.
yes, sir.
Good report.
Yeah, the last thing I'll let you see there is the page 31 where the crime data for hotel locations are. You will see some of those numbers have come up with various locations without naming names. But I want to point out the fact that while they have come up, we have not seen an increase in violations of our ordinance. And that is because the ordinance language specifically lists that when a hotelier or their representative, front desk clerk, come employee, when they're reporting on themselves, that mark does not go against them. So what we've seen is the hotels and their employees have taken the ordinance to heart. And when they have a problem, they are calling about the problem, which it helps us address things immediately and effectively and prevent certain places from becoming problems.
In the right-hand side there, Chief, it says 2025 incident frequency by type. Does that correlate to these hotels?
That's right, sir.
So it's, that's an interesting, what's DISC?
Disturbance.
Disturbance,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
great. Oh, my goodness.
And I have a black and white one too, so I can't mention.
With our ordinance, you would say that we've empowered the front desk clerks in the hotel to be proactive on our behalf?
I believe that is, yeah, I believe that is the conclusion. And I know that many of the staff that work the front desks are on a first name basis with some of the officers. And that's because of the frequency with which the officers come and go. But when they're reporting on themselves, they're recognizing the fact that they have a problem and we need the police there to address it, rather than letting somebody in the room next door deal with it or ignoring it or whatever the past practice it might have been.
Some of the police officers encouraged us to drive in and park in the parking lot
All the time.
just to make sure that whether there's a call or not.
Oh,
Okay, good.
we get quite a few drug possession arrests from occupied vehicles in the parking lots of some of those locations. Just stopping to check on an occupied vehicle at 12 is one of the results in a variety of things.
Thank you, Chief, for a good detailed report, putting the effort into it.
Thank
And thank the team.
you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me recognize the line, guys.
Thank you, Chief. All right, moving on to item number 8, old business, we have none. To new business. First up is 2024-32 Christian and Katie Stolzfus subdivision plan 2198 Hobson Road. That'd have been our backyard. Anything, Tara?
Actually, Mr. Stoltzfus is here with his consultant, Brian Winchester, and I would, before Brian, I would just like to thank Mr. Stoltzfus for being so patient, because he has put this plan on hold to work with the township on a stream bank restoration project. Now, get him credit for MS4 fees or stormwater fees and us credit for MS4. So we look forward to that project. But that has put quite a hold on.
Great to hear that.
Thank you.
I'm Brian Masterson with Register Associates. We prepared the subdivision plan that had been submitted back in 2024, and then addressed all the township engineers review comments, and we got to the riparian buffer section. And at that point, we had started working with the township as far as a stream restoration project, and we didn't think it was fit for us to go and do a whole riparian buffer plan when you guys were gonna do a plan that was gonna trump our riparian buffer plan. So at that point, we just stalled everything. And that riparian buffer plan is gonna be trumped by a plan from the township. So that will address that final comment. But we're asking for conditional approval of so that when the agreements all come together on the restoration project, we can finalize this plan. Basically what the plan is, out your back entrance here, there's two farms there. It's 2198, which is to the right if you're heading out your drive. And then 2244, which is to the left. 2244 is giving some ground to 2198. And then we're taking a 20-acre lot off of the other one, the 2244, creating two farms out of that. That's the gist of this whole plan. No new buildings are proposed at this time. It was just a joint venture to acquire some farmland by two parties. And that's where we will make everybody's solvent, I guess, for their portion that they paid into the partnership. Ready?
Pleasure of the board.
If I might, the only condition that township staff can see is that there's an agreement with the landowner to move forward with the stream bank restoration.
And then there's something about the cartway widening.
There's no cartway widening on Hobson.
Jacob from here had looked at that and said that that did not apply because of being farm.
Agricultural does not require that in our saldo.
But it is a comment on that letter.
If we were to make an approval that, on condition of that the stream bank restoration continue, we would just need that assurance and obviously feedback from staff that that's happening.
That would be great.
Motion on the final subdivision plan, lot add-on for Christian and Katie Stoltzfus. 2198 and 2244 Hoffman Road. The items mentioned on the DMA letter, May the 12th, 2025. Be addressed. And also an additional agreement from the landowners for the green bank restoration be monitored or
Be executed.
be executed. Okay.
A motion by Mr. Rutt,
Second.
second by Mr. Hayward. Any discussion or questions? The question, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, thanks.
Next under new business is item E 2025-05 for Calico Creek Land Development Plan at 2380 Highway East.
Monahan with Mac Engineering, and Anthony Susan is also here with Mike Susan on Build, representing the applicant in this project of Calico Creek. I have a small plan for you guys to see. I know we have them.
Very good. Thank you.
Looks like, thanks for looking my way.
Sure.
These were
Just recently up.
the Texas Roadhouse. There used to be a roadway in there. Comedy club that's been being demolished for this plan. And what the applicant is proposing is about almost a 36,000 square foot building. Use is permitted in the zoning district. It's retail sales and storage essentially. And it's essentially an extension of the existing Alpha Creek Home commercial business that's just to the east of this site.
And down lower.
That's right, yeah. Depending on operations essentially.
Sure. You're gonna be connected?
No,
Okay. It's the same.
yeah, the grading out there is really
Yeah.
But they'll continue to operate.
so I'm speaking with the owner about that. Currently, they're looking to keep that keep the existing shop at. This was presented to the planning commission a number of times, I think, but most recently, it was last week. They agreed to approval on it. Everything's been addressed from DMA's most recent review. We are going through our NPDS permit approval. That came back weeks ago. We submitted that on Friday. Not too many comments were on that. They've all been addressed. We at the planning commission meeting last week, it was brought up about the Lancaster County plan review, and we provided evidence that response memo. I think I sent that to Jacob today. I don't think that's so well yet, but that's that one there. Is there a second page back out on it? Oh no. Yep. I can pass along, but it's pretty simple stuff. Updating the block, some other things, adding notes and stuff and detail to the plan. They've been addressed. There are waivers we're seeking approval on, and the planning commission did recommend approval on those instead of the EMA. One is just to submit the plan as a final plan instead of going through the whole plan process. This is a pretty straightforward plan, so DMA recommend. The second is the use of smaller than 15-inch diameter stormwater pipes. The site out there is so flat, you get, unless you're going to do some massive excavation, it's hard to get a 15-inch diameter pipe in some of these spots and model it that way. We did design for smaller pipes, provided calculations up to the 100-year storm. DMA reviewed that, and there was no objections to that. I think they recommend as well. So.
Elevation, so one of the highest points.
So at the crest of the Lincoln Highway. Paper request. One outstanding item I will say that we're working through is getting approval through HRG for these. It should be pretty straightforward. We're tapping into the same system that the old hotel used. Obviously, it's a new building, they run a new lateral two where they tapped in. And this site actually has 32 EDUs allocated to it. Since it was a hotel, it had so many EDUs, and now we're doing a commercial building, only 9 employees, we only need 1 EDU. So I believe those 31 EDUs approximately are getting issued back to the town. All I have, I'm happy to answer any questions.
That is such, almost 29,000 retail floor area. I mean, that is so much bigger than that existing building.
Yeah,
That's quite the, well, I guess it's a testament to the work they're doing in this. And that building was historic. Is that right, Tara? Was that?
So it was photographed,
Okay.
and it wasn't the roadway in. The restaurant piece was,
That's what was required in that situation, yeah.
Chris, you have on there that the streetscape improvements will be installed by the township. or by others, and the cost will be paid to the township. You do not have an agreement with the landowner to date for that construction or easement. That the board, if they consider this plan tonight, will likely consider that as one of the conditions, that that agreement and easement are land.
I spoke with the owner this evening before the meeting here. And he seemed to think everything was in order, so maybe there's a misunderstanding on his end. Basically, because he had the other property, maybe he got confused on
That
that.
could be.
So, but my understanding in speaking with him is that he was ready to move forward. You know, whatever the township requires on the street speech.
That's good news.
So, I know there's some discussion about retaining walls and things in his other kind of existing location. If you want to do that. Do that in the wall.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Good questions? Any questions for our presenters? Not.
So I'll make a motion to approve the Calico Creek 2331 Highway East. The two items that DMA pulled out, we landed. The condition would be that we as a township would need a signed declaration, you're gonna take care of the landscape. Either you or a designated person will be paying for those.
As far as the.
For the streetscape,
Easements.
right, so there needs to be an agreement and an easement.
Take care of the streetscape situation at this property.
Good. Motion by Mr. Rutt,
Second.
second by Mr. Lapp. Any discussion or questions? On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Very excited to see this move forward.
Yep. Thanks for putting the effort in.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Next up, under new business is item C. This is a resolution, the sewer planning module. 700 Greenfield Road, the land development plan.
This is called New Greenfield Road. I believe the address is going to be 700 Greenfield. This is for the High Foundation property that will be constructed there, or you'll see a plan for that in the near future. The module that they're requesting is for 6 EDUs for approximately 58 employees.
And that's the new building for the foundation that they're creating. That they put, I think I read something, they put all their operating businesses into that foundation.
I believe that's what has happened.
Yeah. Good, okay.
Majority. not
Yeah.
quite all.
Yeah, the majority, a better way to say it. Thanks, Mike.
And a motion,
So moved.
motion by Mr. Hayward to approve the resolution for sewer module, planning module 700 Greenfield Road Land Development Plan. Second. Second by Mr. Lapp. On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Item D under new business, Upper Lake Cock Township zoning amendments, agricultural.
So just as we send our zoning amendments out to our planning partners and our neighboring municipalities, as well as the school district for review and comment, Laycock has sent 2 of theirs to us for the same kind of response. The first is for agricultural, and this is for agricultural activities within the mixed use zoning district in Upper Laycock Township. It was not within that district, and so they are looking to add that. You will see that Jacob Bowen, the Director of Planning here at East Lampeter Township, provided a review letter back to to Upper Lake Hawk Township, which noted that they may want to consider the difference in definition between farm animals and livestock as they use them interchangeably, and some ordinances define them differently. So if you're fine with that review letter, then Jacob will send that out tomorrow.
So I would entertain a motion for approval for staff to send the letter out with the term livestock instead of farm animals.
Mr. Chairman, just one other question, because there's another letter just before that regarding other two comments, or is that germane?
That is short term. That's the next item on your agenda.
Oh, okay, I apologize. Yeah, no, I second it.
Yeah. We need an initial.
Oh, sorry.
I'll say initial motion.
Yes, sir. Send the letter out dated March 10th, 2026.
Second. The second to the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item E, Upper Lake Hawk Township zoning amendment. This one deals with short-term rentals.
Right, so this is dealing with your tourist homes in general. So you'll see that your Director of Planning, Jacob Bowen, noted that they need to consider specific bedroom accommodations and the term bed and breakfast as they move forward with this. Additionally, we have the Chief of Police review this because he was involved in the early discussions of changes to this ordinance. He just wished to let Upper Lake Hawk Township know that police involvement in civil matters is for short-term rentals is not something that they would generally get involved with removing individuals from a short.
Again, I'm coming up to speed. There is a distinctive difference between, say, Verbo, which is a vacation rental by owner, which would be this sort of short-term rental, versus you have to have a license to have a bed and breakfast in East Lampeter?
So this is in Upper Lake Hawk Township.
Yeah, no, but I mean, excuse me, yeah, that's right. Is that the distinction they're trying to address, is that there's a license for a bed and breakfast, which is distinct from a short-term rental?
So they would require a license with this ordinance
Okay.
for a short-term rental.
Thank you.
Anything involving police involvement on that, Tara, is essentially communication between staff at the staff level. Not involved in the motion. Okay.
I move that the letter dated March 10th, 2026, addressing the wording that we sent back to Lake Hawk Township
With the matter of short-term rentals.
Yes.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Higbee. Second by Mr. Ruffin. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion carries. Item F, potential subdivision and or sale township property, Nolt Mill in Hush.
So the Board of Supervisors purchased this property in 2020 when the prior owner was wishing to sell the property. The mill itself was being used as an art studio / gallery, and the house was being rented to a family member of the studio / gallery owner. At the time, the property was purchased given its proximity to Gibbons Park, as well as for the opportunity to remove sediment from behind the dam and obtain MS4 credits for that sediment, with the potential of removal or notching of the dam to reduce the amount of sediment buildup, thus giving back viable farmland to the farmers upstream of the dam. The property was purchased for $318,000. Since taking ownership of the property, the board has permitted the barns or garage, whichever you want to call it, behind the mill as storage space for the Public Works Department. We have also utilized the house in a program with Hope to serve an underprivileged or underhoused family that has students in the CV school district for a period of about 6 months. And that was at a lower rate than normal rates. However, we've also done the upgrades that have been needed to the property to keep the property from falling into disarray. And at this point, there's a new roof needed on the mill itself. Roof has a cost of about $220,000. It's a PP&L line that needs to be moved in order to actually put the roof on the mill. The house has a small roof issue that needs to be addressed as well at a cost of about $15,000. During one of the workshops for the budget in 2025 for the 2026 budget, the board discussed whether or not there should be an appraisal of the property to determine if a subdivision was a possibility. So late last year, township staff engaged an appraisal company. That appraisal came back in late January. And we asked them to look at the property as a whole. We asked them to look at the property with the potential subdivision of the residential unit with approximately 0.25 acres with it. And then to look at the mill and barn as a separate property. Those appraisals came back. Excuse me, let me step back for 1 second. David Miller Associates did take a look at the concept of a subdivision, and that's how we got then to look at the different appraisals. And I believe that that concept of subdivision is on the screen currently. It shows an easement through the property, and that hash mark would be an easement for fire engines to draft at the creek and then have a turnaround area and through area of this property from the Gibbons Park at Knowle Mill property. We also inquired with the township solicitor to ensure that we could still maintain the mill rate and the rights to the dam if this property were not in control of the township. And we were assured through the township solicitor that that could happen. There are additional costs that would be associated with that. There'd be survey costs and there'd be legal costs in establishing those easements. I do not have those costs at this time. As we read through the appraisal, the total appraisal for the property came in at $640,000. The appraisal for the house came in at $355,000. However, there are some caveats there. The house is in a floodplain. There are, necessary fixes to the house. So there is a section of the appraisal that does read $240,000, maybe an appropriate number there. And you have to read through the entire appraisal to find those differences. The mill property with the barn and 0.55 acres was appraised at $450,000. So these are all factors that the board can take into consideration as you look at retaining the property or subdividing the property and selling one portion, subdividing the property and selling both portions, or selling the property as a whole. And in any case, retaining the easement for the mill race and the dam so that in the future, there could be still a notch in that dam and then removal of the legacy sediment that has built up behind it for MS4. The board also needs to keep in mind that this property is directly adjacent to a property that you also own, the Gibbons Park at Mill Mill. And that is in the process of being developed as a passive park. So owning the property next door is a great opportunity because, you know, we can do things like an easement through there for drafting a creek or fire service. However, we're also in this situation of deficit spending, and we're looking for ways to save money. So I think I've laid out where we were, where and needs.
Chairman, I would, the staff on the details of the efforts they've made at this point, and would recommend that we move to give the staff additional direction to look at the three options that Tara identified, but maintaining the easement, absolutely, but perhaps not being prescriptive, but whether it's one selling the property as a whole or subdividing it and selling it subdivided with the easement, but each of the options would include an easement, and that we're not in the business of owning property like this. And as Tara has shared, this would be an opportunity because of the change in economic reality that we should maximize the return to the township for the residents' benefit.
And along with that, Robert, maximizing return would, I would say, limiting the losses.
The expense.
The expense.
Yeah.
So this is my thoughts, that we subdivide that property, make sure the easement's included, and directing the staff to get costs associated with that, and sell the property subdivided with the easement at public auction. So,
And my intent is directing them, unless you think we ought to be so precise, I'm thinking, my intent is giving them the challenge of coming back to us, what's the best way to accomplish best return? Yeah, to limit costs, to maximize return, and if they discover there's another way, but I'm with you in principle, Rod. I didn't want to be too prescriptive, but just saying, please come back with the best way to maximize. We can increase revenue, decrease costs, and selling it would be an increase in revenue. Decreasing the cost would also occur, but both at the same time.
there's gonna be costs, there's gonna be legal costs and everything, but I also want to be respectful of their time. So I think
Yeah.
we as a board could give them a more directed outcome,
I defer to your wisdom.
just making a suggestion.
Hearing that we would like to, if the board agrees, we would like to have you, have staff continue to look at all the options, make sure we have everything laid out of the options that we have to maximize the benefit, but also protect our interests in terms of the dam and the park. So we have a legal opinion that says, yes, you can make that easement a condition of the sale.
Township manager has indicated that, or our township
Solicitor.
has indicated that, yes. So as you all know, you've seen the subdivision process. It takes some time. And in that time, the house could, or the mill could be rented. And so that's something you could consider, renting at market rate or renting at a lower rate, but there would be a definitive time frame of this rental.
So when you look at the time frame of that subdivision plan, and we said it's definitely going to take 6 months, you could rent it for 6 months.
I would encourage you to make that known, that that's our longer plan. So whoever is in that renting position would be aware of that and not be surprised if a change of ownership creates a challenge for them. But
And my recommendation would be, even though we didn't have the most positive experience with the renters before, is that we continue the agreement with Bridge of Hope so that someone from CV School District is able to have good housing for 6 months.
I don't know that they restrict to CV.
We
did.
actually
We did.
require
You
that.
say that? Okay.
Yeah.
I personally have no disagreement with that. We're not looking for a motion, but just agreement that.
Yeah, I think
move forward and we can consider the rental if you think is definitely gonna take more than 6 months.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go a year. I wouldn't try to rent it for a year with the idea that they start thinking, we'll get things together and get moving.
You can be surprised with somebody that comes by and says, I'll give you a good return for it immediately. And, but press on to find the best way to maximize the return. Because that's not our business. We're not in the business of renting things.
You
But-
welcome comments now or,
Please. Please, yes.
all right.
I'm Ed Mackey. I'd like to make a comment if that's okay. Tara Hitchens and I had a conversation on the phone a few weeks back. Elizabeth Whitehurst has zoomed in with me this evening. We're partners and we are interested in speaking with the board about a potential purchase of this property. And I live right next door, so to the mill on the west side of the mill at 2543 Old Philadelphia. So I guess I would say I have a vested interest in the property, and Elizabeth does as well. So I wanted to just make that known publicly here to you folks, and I just wanted to see if you have an interest in speaking with us about it. We'd love to do that.
And just to clarify, you're saying to speak to the board about it?
The board or someone you designate, whomever we should speak with.
I have no problem interacting with staff.
Yeah, I would agree with you,
Our
Mike.
manager's office.
Mr. Chairman, I think directing you to engage our staff appropriately under Tara's direction to review, yes, press on to that.
Terry, okay with that?
Okay with that, we'll have the solicitor involved.
Sure.
And with the understanding, as I guess you have heard, we want to maintain an easement to access the dam.
Yeah, actually, thank you. Yes, that makes perfect sense. And actually, in the conversation I had with Tara Hitchens, she and I expressed that I would really prefer that the township maintain the water rights, maintain that easement, and we would absolutely work with the township on that with no issues.
Would be appropriate to ask him if he has an offer right now. Okay.
Well, you've heard the dialogue we've had about it tonight. It sounds like you understand the steps that we're going through. I think we're in a good position for you to continue the conversation with our township manager.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And her staff. Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate your patience in making those comments.
Our pleasure.
Anything further? All right. Moving on to item 10, supervisor discussion items, tow policy, false alarm fees. They came up today.
They did. These are different, right? These are the fire false alarm fee, which Steve did a great job of explaining. Charged a different rate and different method than the police false alarms. I don't have a report on these until our March 19th, which is later this week, Emergency Service Committee meeting, at which we'll talk about the tow policy, or excuse me, the false alarm policy, and the chief is setting up the second meeting for the tow policy with the various tow companies.
Okay. Repeat cost savings to reduce deficit spending.
So I have nothing more than we had two meetings ago, so.
But we will have a quarterly report.
So you did get in your packets the financials
Okay.
from the finance director.
And if I look, and looking at that, I guess, I looked at what I would say is a significant improvement. Is that, in the sense that we went from 35 to 30%. If I look at the actual for 2025 compared to the actual for 2026, relationally in the budget, or
Are you looking at the general fund?
yeah, the general here at the bottom, revenues over or under. And in 2026, we budgeted a 9.83%. And for the first, and then 8.14% 2025, but the actual dropped from 35% to 30%. Lost. Which to me says an improvement. But then maybe reading it wrong.
It's just the comparison of 2 months.
But I'm encouraged. It looks like it's going in the right direction.
Appreciate your optimism.
Okay. Any other discussion items the board would like us to place on this agenda item?
I'm not sure if this is the right place to ask this question. So I was able to locate a person for the,
The Emergency Services Committee.
right, so how does that,
Right, so it would be great if you could give that person's contact information to me, and then I can reach out to them.
okay.
All right, moving on to item 11, action items, approval of easements for our Lincoln Highway Streetscape Phase 3 project.
So you've done a number of these, but we're not done yet. So we have 2320 Lincoln Highway and 2291 Lincoln Highway easement agreements for approval tonight.
Accept the motion to accept those agreements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rudd, second by Mr. Hayward. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Sorry, as part of those agreements, we have 2 settlement agreements for the easements. Sorry, I moved on.
Okay.
For 2 Pleasant Drive and 2291. For 2 Pleasant Drive, the agreement for all of the easements that are needed on that property is a $10,000 payment. And for 2291, this includes a retaining wall that sits into the property owner's property. It's $15,000. We did have our solicitor look these over because if we were to go through eminent domain, that's a similar cost to do so.
Okay, I'll take a motion to agree to the settlement agreements for the right-of-way acquisition to Lincoln Highway Streetscape Phase 3 for number 2 Pleasant Drive and 2291 Lincoln Drive. So moved. Mr. Hayward with the motion. And a second by Mr. Rudd. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and motion carries. Item C is the award bid for the in-place paving materials. We have those in our pack.
You do have those in your packet. There were 5 bidders, as you can see. The budgeted amount for this was $375,000. The project is from Creek Hill, or is along Creek Hill from Willow to Hartman Station and along Mill Cross from Kitney to Creek Hill. So the lowest bidder.
And included in here is one ADA ramp.
Yeah, and I apologize. The lowest bidder was Pensy Supply.
Yeah.
I think I gave you incorrect information in there. At $285,643.66.
Sarah, have you worked specifically with one company before?
We've actually worked with probably all of these at some point in time.
I've worked with Tennessee there. Yeah. Sure, actually, we're.
But there's one ADA ramp being put in. Is that what that says?
Yes, one ADA ramp, yes.
Where's that ADA ramp going?
That is along Creek Hill to adjoin another ADA ramp that
Okay.
exists.
It's a pleasure of the board.
To accept, 2026 milling and paving bids, Pennsy Supply, and that amount being $285,643.66.
Motion by Mr. Rep,
Second.
second by Mr. Lapp. Any discussion on these numbers or prices? We got the right ones now.
Yes,
Okay.
my apologies.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, award, this is the bid for oil and chip materials. We have that in the packet.
This was budgeted at 59,000. This is along Mill Creek Road. From Route 340 to the township line. Martin's Paving came in with the lowest total at $44,171.76.
Approve the oil and chip material bid from Martin's Paving at 44,171.76. By Mr. Hayward, second by Mr. Rudd. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. On to the manager's report.
I would like to alert everyone that at the adoption of the budget at the end of 2025, the board also took action with resolution 2025-25 to amend the sewer rental rate for EU and increase that from $95 to $5 to $100, an increase of $5. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give you some idea of the surrounding sewer charges that are out there. Lassa is at $114 per quarter. For Lake Hawk Township is at $120 per quarter. West Earl Sewer District is at $175.50 per quarter. Lassa is $145 per quarter. And Northwestern Lancaster County Authority $219. So our rate, even with an increase, is lower than most of our surrounding neighbors.
When was the last time we raised the rate?
Say 2016, but I could be wrong, Mr. Hayward.
Thank you.
Darren, in terms of one of the discussion points about information, informing everybody, what are the different methods we've used to make sure everybody knows?
So this is in the newsletter. It was in the newsletter in January. It will be in the newsletter again in April. It was on the Facebook page and it is on or is going on the
Website. Thank you.
And then the second item I have there is the Business Improvement District meetings have been set up to be held on the second Tuesday of the month at 4 p.m. here at the Township Building.
First meeting.
The first meeting was held on March 10th. There were 4 of the 5 individuals present for that meeting. They did organize with Mr. Steve Sicking as the chairperson. He has a 1-year term. They were set up in a 5-year, 4-year, 3-year, 2-year, 1-year term so that they could go on to a rotating.
All right, second opportunity in our meetings for public comment. We do have a few people online yet. One left. Any comments for us?
I'd like to thank you folks for hearing Elizabeth and myself out on the Knolt Mill property. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for your interest. All right. Hearing nothing more, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Hayward, is the motion. You laugh at the second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Any opposed?